Welcome to another episode of whatever it is. This is a reaction channel, so I don't. Okay, 6 most disturbing theme park accidents ever recorded. So this ought to be interesting. I love theme parks. Do you like theme parks? Comment down below what's your favorite theme park. Mine is Silver Dollar City from Branson, Missouri. Let's watch. Stardust Racers, March 27th, 2020.
Parks are meant to feel safe and predictable. Every risk is accounted for, and each outcome is predicted before it even happens. That's what makes them feel safe. But here, that sense of control failed all at once. It happened at Universal's Epic Universe in Orlando, where one of the most anticipated rides was Stardust Racers, a high-speed coaster designed to simulate 2 comets racing through space. It launches riders past 60 miles per hour, twisting and crossing tracks mid-air, all within a system that's meant to be precise down to the second.
Naturally.
And that's where the day began for 32-year-old Kevin Rodriguez Zavala, who boarded the ride with his girlfriend. From the outside, everything looked routine. Restraints were checked, seats locked, and the ride dispatched like it had countless times before. But even before the drop, something felt off. Kevin relied on a wheelchair and didn't have full support of his legs. And according to his girlfriend, the restraint didn't feel as secure as it should have been. Still, the ride continued forward. It climbed the track.
No takesy-backsies now.
Reaching that moment right before the drop, which is where everything feels briefly in control. And then it wasn't. As the coaster dropped and accelerated, things began to get out of hand almost immediately. Without lower body support, Kevin couldn't brace himself. And within seconds, the forces of the ride took over. His girlfriend tried to hold on to him, but the speed and the forces of the ride overwhelmed any control.
Oh no.
That's when the impact started. Each turn and every twist forced his body harder against the restraints and the structure of the ride itself, until it was clear that control was no longer his. At one point, his head struck a metal bar, and then it happened again, harder this time, and once more after that. The ride never stopped. While inside the seat, the situation had already gone past the point of anyone being able to help.
His hand was too low. He doesn't have any support on his leg. They pushed it about 3 times, maybe 4.
Who pushed it? Ride worker?
Yeah.
Dude, is he okay?
I saw him on the first drop. I saw him hit his head. I tried to hold him. I couldn't hold him. Another one, he hit his head. He just went up and hit.
This is horrible, though.
It looked like it was tight, but it wasn't. Like I said, he doesn't have support on his leg, so he can't just hold support, so he can just stay in place.
Huh.
That's all I can remember, because I lost my glasses halfway up the ride. All I know, he kept hitting his head. I tried to hold him so he doesn't hit his head anymore, but it was...
By the time the ride finally came to an end, the outcome had already been decided. Staff reached him to find he was unresponsive.
Fuck.
His face turned blue, and CPR was started immediately beside the ride.
Damn, dude, that's fucking horrible.
I don't know if you caught it, supervisors or inbound.
I can't imagine that shit, dude.
You can cancel on when this goes.
And what's really fucked up too is that it takes something like this to happen for there to be change, you know what I mean? So now I bet they probably don't let people who can't have control in their legs or support in their legs, I guess, or I don't know, I'm not entirely... He was in a wheelchair, so I don't know if he was totally like paralyzed, like he couldn't use his legs at all type stuff, but I bet now they don't have, you can't get on that ride. I'm betting if that's the case, which is pretty fucked up. But even then, it's like, should you still even get on that ride? Because like, that's what you need to have support in your legs to be able to avoid hitting your head on a... That shit just doesn't even make sense to begin with, actually. So I don't... It's fucking weird. Rest in peace, bro. If he...
I got a 2-minute timer going. Cool. Got a timer going. All good?
This shit is sad.
Every 15 minutes, responders worked to bring him back. Trying to
This is supposed to be scary. This ain't.
As witnesses looked on, describing severe head trauma, deep injuries, and heavy bleeding in the middle of a place meant for entertainment. He was rushed out on a stretcher, but he did not survive.
Damn.
Kevin
Rest in
Rodriguez
peace,
Zavala
bro.
was later pronounced dead from blunt force trauma. In the aftermath, investigators examined every detail of the ride, the restraints, and the systems behind it, only to conclude that there was no mechanical failure. And that's what makes it harder to process. Nothing broke, nothing malfunctioned. The ride did exactly what it was supposed to do. Yet, somewhere in that sequence, something failed in a way that couldn't be captured by mechanics or design.
But you better dude, no way.
Sorry to cut in for just a sec, but if you're enjoying the video so far, this is your sign to subscribe.
I am subscribed.
100,000 subscribers in 2026. And right now,
I am subscribed.
6.3% of you are actually subscribed.
There you
That
go.
means a massive 93.
We gonna skip this
Thank you
though.
in advance.
We're gonna skip that. I didn't get enough information on that last ride there. Did they shut it down? Did they? Because there's just no way that happened. And it was like, well, we can't find anything, so. Oh well, let's go ahead and open it back up. Dude, there's no fucking way.
13 years ago at Divo Ostrov Amusement Park in St. Petersburg, a rocket-style ride was designed to launch riders high into the sky before dropping them back down. That is, until something went horribly wrong.
Oh god, it looks like it's on a string, dude.
Entirely on timing, tension, and a set of cables working exactly as intended. Nothing can be out of place, and at first, everything was normal. Riders were strapped in, safety checks were completed, and the ride lifted off smoothly, carrying them more than 200 feet into the air as the park below.
Did cameras really look like this in 2012?
It just looked like another routine cycle. Nothing unusual, nothing to worry about. Then, in a single moment, the ride failed. A sharp sound cut through the motion. Something breaking, something snapping.
Oh boy.
The main cables, a critical part of the entire structure, snapped mid-operation.
Oh my god.
The ride jolted violently, throwing the system off balance.
Okay.
And then fell from a height of 200 meters.
Is it still hanging on
Supposed to be a controlled
by the
ascent
other one?
turned into something.
Dude, that impact though, I mean, because that cable is not a bouncy cable. It's just, that shit probably fucked you up. Like, depending on how you landed.
Completely different. But
You know,
what's worse
physics,
is that
I
this
don't-
wasn't an isolated case. The same park had seen other serious accidents before. Another
Dude,
ride
that one's
malfunction
crazy.
that left a young girl badly injured, and additional failures that raised the same uncomfortable pattern.
Wait, did that fall all the way to the ground? I thought it was just hanging off by the other cable.
The
Dude.
question stays behind long after the ride stops moving. At one point, does something built for thrills stop being controlled and start becoming unpredictable?
Okay, that one was crazy.
This
Wacky
incident
worm.
took place on Wednesday, July 23rd, 2010, at the Sonoma
Hold up, I'm
Memorial
thirsty.
Park.
I need some water. This is just making me thirsty. You need some water? You good? Okay, all right, bet.
Less than 90 minutes after the fair opened that day. The fairgrounds that day in Petaluma were already filling with crowds, and among the rides in operation was a small roller coaster known as the Wacky Worm.
Okay.
It wasn't a high-speed thrill ride.
Nah,
In
it
fact,
looks-
it was designed for kids.
I'm about to say, it looks like a kiddie
simple,
ride.
slow-moving coaster shaped like a green caterpillar.
Ugh, that caterpillar scary as fuck too. Look at that face, bro.
A
Ugh.
simple, slow-moving coaster shaped like a green caterpillar, looping around a short figure-8 track. At that moment, several children were already on board,
Naturally.
sitting in the front and back cars as the ride made its usual rounds. But near the track, something else was happening. A carnival worker, a man in his early 20s, had just returned from a break. For reasons that were never fully explained, he approached the ride area and opened a small safety gate that separated staff from the active track. Then, without realizing what was coming, he stepped inside. Witnesses later said he had his back turned to the ride, holding a drink in his hand, completely unaware that the roller coaster was already moving toward him. The ride carrying children struck him directly.
I really couldn't tell what happened there. I can't really see what's going on.
Impact knocked him off balance instantly, throwing him down onto the track as the ride continued forward.
Oh no.
Riders and nearby staff needed a second to understand what had just happened. But by then, it was already too late, and the coaster rolled over him.
Oh God.
Described the ride rocking slightly as it passed over his body before finally coming to a stop. Some of the children on board had seen what happened, while others were quickly told to look away. Emergency responders rushed in almost immediately. The injuries were severe. His leg had been completely severed below the knee. Paramedics worked quickly to stabilize him, while others recovered the severed limb and preserved it, placing it on ice before transporting it along with him to the hospital. He survived. Damage was permanent.
God damn, that sucks that has to happen though. Like, dude, that's a mistake you can't come back from. Like, you learn from your mistakes, but like, dude is permanently.
Something became very clear.
That's horrible
the ride
though.
Itself hadn't malfunctioned.
No, guess not.
Had entered a restricted area while the ride
I
was
would say
active.
it sounded like it was his fault.
Was not supposed to be, and that's what makes it so horrifying, because it didn't take a massive failure or a high-speed crash. It didn't take a broken system or a dangerous design. All it took was one step in the wrong direction.
I guess that's true. They should really have those shits more like closed off though.
On January 14th, 2011, something horrifying happened at the Caroline Bay Carnival in Timaru. During what should have been a completely normal afternoon. Among the riders that day were a man named...
Those shits look way too close together. Like, I don't know.
Normal afternoon.
I'm sure it's the camera angle and perspective, but
Among the riders that day were a man named Andrew Meeking and his young son, just 4 years old. Like most parents, he was simply sharing a ride with his child, trusting that everything had been secured and made safe. The coaster began its run like it always did. It climbed, turned, and moved along the track without any visible issue. And then, suddenly, something changed. As the coaster moved through its course, the front car derailed. Without warning, it came off the track and was left hanging in midair, suspended several feet above the ground. At that moment, the ride stopped being a ride, just a stalled carriage hanging where it shouldn't be, with a father and his child trapped inside. For Andrew, the situation was immediate and real. Somehow he managed to climb out, holding his child in his arms.
Okay.
And it wasn't...
Yeah, about to say, like, it isn't... Not too big of a deal right now. Like, there's a couple feet. If I was the adult, I would hop myself down first, and then... Because it looks like it's still big enough. I mean, just seeing the dude back there, like, you can just reach up and get him, right? Let me shut up. This is way too soon. I don't know what's about to happen.
Clean or easy exit.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
That coaster looks cheap as like that shit just looks scary and not okay at all. The carts, the everything about it just looks fucking iffy as shit, dude.
When they finally reached
Boom boom pow. Is that boom boom pow playing?
Andrew had suffered a back injury, and his son, while physically less harmed, was left shaken by...
Damn, I bet that sudden stop probably did. That can fuck up your shit.
Emergency services responded quickly, securing the area and making sure no further risk remained.
Yeah.
The ride was shut down immediately. It didn't reopen.
Good.
After that incident, early findings pointed toward a mechanical issue, specifically a wheel detaching from the carriage, which caused it to leave the track. Authorities stepped in and issued a prohibition notice, meaning the ride couldn't operate again until it was fully inspected and cleared by independent engineers.
That shit.
Organizers, it was something they had never experienced before, because it wasn't about extreme speed or pushing limits. It was a simple ride, doing what it had always done, until suddenly it didn't. What happens when the one thing you trust the most is the thing that fails?
Damn. I mean, I get that. That's gotta be like iffy too, but I don't know. Those carnival ones are just kind of weird and sketchy, just because they're built to move around and shit. you know. No, I don't know. I said you know, but I don't think I do know. I'll be right back. 2009. We're going like further back.
Brings us to October 2024 at a traveling fair in Ecuador during what should have been a normal night of festivities. At first, everything appeared normal as the gondola filled with riders swung through its usual motion, going back and forth and climbing higher with each pass, just as it was designed to.
Normally.
But as the ride continued, the motion began to feel just slightly off, and soon the gondola was swinging in a way that clearly wasn't normal. Then, without warning, a loud horn cut through the noise, sharp, out of place, and immediately signaling that something was wrong. And moments later, as the gondola swung forward again, it collided with part of the platform, hitting with a sudden heavy impact that no one expected.
I don't want to see this. Ah! Boy, I hope these people are okay.
One of the mechanical arms holding the gondolas gave way, leading to a complete structural failure. In an instant, 2 gondola cars detached mid-motion, one crashing directly onto the platform with passengers still inside, and the other being thrown to the side before slamming into the ground with equal force. Onlookers scattered immediately, some ran to get away.
Oh my God.
Forward, unsure what they were about to see, but unable to look away. When people reached the scene, the reality became clear.
What, dude?
Completely wrecked, and passengers were still strapped into their seats.
But to say you're still
some barely moving, others visibly injured. Witnesses later described seeing blood across the broken structure, a detail that made the severity of the situation unmistakable. Emergency responders arrived quickly and began working to assess and stabilize the victims. In total, 10 people were injured, 6 of them critically, with many suffering fractures and head trauma. Victims were rushed to nearby hospitals where some required intensive care as doctors worked urgently to manage their injuries. Afterward, investigators pointed to a mechanical failure as the cause, explaining that one of these
no
arms
shit
had come loose and triggered the collapse of the entire structure mid-ride. In just a
y'all don't trust those traveling carnivals. I'm sorry, just don't do it, dude. I just don't.
Built for thrill turned into something far more serious. And for the people on that ride, there was no time to react, only time to fall.
And even if you could, how could you react? What could you do? You're literally restrained in it.
At most fairgrounds, the beginning of a ride feels like the safest part for a few seconds. There's always that familiar mix of excitement and nervous laughter. That was exactly the case at a fun fair in Miami on September 28, 2009. People were seated and ready for what seemed like a routine amusement ride experience. The kind where the atmosphere stays light and playful. As the ride started up, everything still felt normal. The structure lifted, rotated, and moved exactly the way it was supposed to. For a brief moment, it was just another motion ride, filled with excited screams and laughter. But that sense of normalcy didn't last long.
It's just kind of going kind of fast.
In the way the ride was supporting itself. The motion felt different, wrong, and then, in an instant, the structure began to give way.
Oh! 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 What just happened, dude? What the fuck was that? Are those... Is it upside... Is it... I see legs.
Sections of the ride collapsed where passengers were still strapped into their seats. People who had been smiling seconds earlier were suddenly thrown into chaos as the very ride holding them up started to fail beneath them. There was no time to process what was happening. Riders fell from a height as parts of the ride broke apart, and the sound of twisting metal and heavy impact replaced the excitement that had filled the air only moments before. Screams that had started as excitement became something else entirely. Emergency teams were called immediately and the ride area was shut down as people rushed in to help the injured. Several riders were hurt in the incident.
Dude, that's crazy.
What made it especially disturbing was just how fast it happened. There was no slow warning, no obvious sign of trouble. One moment it was completely normal, and the next it was collapsing.
That was crazy. 2023. Comic.
In certain amusement park rides, there's a certain moment where everything flips literally just for excitement. And that's what makes this next incident so unsettling. Because when something goes wrong in that moment, it's much harder to tell the difference between what's supposed to happen and what isn't. Park Chudi's amusement park.
Oh god, that looks.
Russia. Riders boarded a pendulum-style attraction known as Ranger.
Kamikaze Ranger?
Started exactly as expected.
Can we not say that on YouTube?
Built momentum, swung back and forth, and then completed a full 360-degree rotation. But then something changed. As the ride moved into its next rotation, it suddenly stopped at the highest point, and it did not come back down.
Huh? Right.
There was confusion. From the ground, some observers weren't sure if it was part of the attraction.
Right.
It felt wrong.
That's what I would think.
Riders had frozen in place, leaving passengers hanging at the peak of its motion, completely inverted above the ground. For a few seconds, there was silence mixed with uncertainty. Then the panic started almost immediately. Riders began shouting for help, calling out to the operator, asking if something had broken. Reports later indicated that the passengers remained stuck in this position for more than 2 minutes. There was some disagreement over the exact duration.
Okay.
Eventually,
I'm not gonna lie, I thought he was about to say 2 hours. 2 minutes is a long time to be stuck upside down. No doubt about it. But you'll be okay.
The operator managed to manually bring the ride down. The descent itself became the moment everyone had been waiting for, but even then, the tension didn't disappear instantly. The ride finally returned to its starting position, and passengers were able to step off. But their reactions were mixed. After the incident, the park administration issued an apology and stated that the interruption had only lasted a short time. They also confirmed that no formal complaints had been filed and that refunds were provided to those affected.
Okay.
A technical inspection of the ride was launched soon after. However, authorities also stepped in, opening an investigation into whether unsafe services had been provided. It was about what it felt like to be completely still while hanging upside down in the air, waiting for something to move again.
That's bizarre. That's what I was about to say. For that to happen is so bizarre. Weird as hell. But thank God, no one died. No one was severely injured. I mean, being upside down for 2 minutes is probably uncomfortable. I don't know if I would want to do it or anything, but obviously I probably wouldn't. But you'll be okay. You will be okay. People have been stuck upside down for way longer and have been okay. So, honorable mentions. Oh,
we're actually looking at 3 different incidents combined, and they all involve one specific type of ride, the pendulum. What connects them isn't just the design, but the moment things stop behaving the way they should. The first clip comes from a park in China, where a group of tourists were already mid-ride as the pendulum swung higher with each pass, building toward that familiar peak. Everything was moving exactly as expected, until it wasn't.
Is that stuck upside down too? Now that's gotta be extra uncomfortable with the legs and shit.
Instead of completing the cycle, the ride suddenly froze at its highest point, as if something had cut through its motion entirely, leaving the riders suspended upside down in the air, held there in a silence that wasn't supposed to exist. The second incident from Novosibirsk, Russia, plays out in a very similar way.
How is that stuck like that?
Momentum completes its rotations and then suddenly stops mid-cycle.
Прикинь, а вы бы могли сейчас там быть. Просто
Хорошо, что не пошли.
пацаны, я вас не пущу сегодня туда.
How is that? That's like at like an 80 degree angle. That's not even like a perfect 90.
Давайте помогайте.
А, да ладно.
This time, passengers are left hanging upside down, stuck in place with no explanation. But the third incident takes it even further. At Knott's Berry Farm in California, a pendulum-style ride malfunctioned and left riders stranded several stories above the ground.
That's just got to be uncomfortable, though.
You can see the riders still seated in those arms on this ride. It does go around and round, but somehow it got stuck and they were not able to get it to operate again. You can see all the people sitting in place.
But instead of being stuck in one position, the ride froze with people tilted at different
Oh,
angles.
boy.
Some sideways, some partially inverted.
Hey, bro. Look at this dude right here. He's like, he got his shoulders squeezed out or some shit. Trying to like take a look at what's going on. Get your shit back in there, bro. What are you doing?
People tilted at different angles, some sideways, some partially inverted, all unable to move, turning it into a full rescue operation.
It appears that there is a lack of urgency because we don't see those first responders.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, people get stuck in an elevator, fire department's right there to get them out, and here we have what appears to be dozens of people stuck on this ride and have been so for more than 2 hours.
What?
What began as a few seconds of confusion slowly stretched into hours of waiting, the kind of waiting that feels heavier with every passing minute. And this is exactly where this type of ride becomes especially unsettling, because across all three cases, the pattern is almost the same. The ride doesn't crash, it doesn't tear apart, it simply stops. But when you're suspended in the air, strapped into a seat, and completely dependent on a system that has suddenly stopped behaving the way it's supposed to, that single moment is all it takes for everything to feel wrong.
That shit is fucking bizarre, dude. I like this video. I like this. This is cool. The Fear Factory. I like your channel, bro. I like you. Please don't copyright strike me. This is awesome. Give him the credit that he deserves. That he deserves, because he made it. Okay, whatever. That's it. That's it. Hope y'all enjoy. Take care. Stay safe. Be good people. Bye-bye. You waiting for me to do it? You don't know when I might do it. I might be eating.